my first loss, I learned these lessons. But then I won the next fight, and then the leeches come out, all these different people who are there, pretending that they're your friends, but they're just like there because they want to be part of the whatever's going on, or they might be secretly plotting on you.
Big Daddy Swolls. BDS.
Welcome everybody to another episode of BDS TV. I'm your host, Big Daddy Swolls, and today we got a special guest for you. His name is Emmanueli Maximo Adzoh. He's a professional MMA fighter and a fine art artist. Really cool guy, man. Man, how you doing, brother?
Doing great, bud. Good to see you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right.
So how you been? What have you been up to? What have you been, doing?
Yeah, just chilling, working hard. Right now, preparing to fight. I'm looking to fight 4 times this year. Working out, trying to switch some things up, get stronger. That's like my main thing. After seeing that John Jones fight the other day, last weekend, it was just like I see strength as a big thing that I need to up in my game. So that's really something I'm focusing on right now. Is getting way stronger, becoming more of an athlete, and just being a better all around athlete. Going into my next couple fights.
Well, dude, it's always supposed to be something you always grow into, and you can continue to be better, just like as everything in life. So that's awesome. So tell me about yourself. Like, how'd you get into fighting?
Yeah. So I've been fighting my whole life. Really, I've always would get into fights. Being because I'm an immigrant from Africa, that's why my name is so crazy. But being an immigrant coming over to America, I'd always be. I was always a smaller kid, skinny kid, so kids would constantly want to fight, So that's kind of just how I got into the fights. Always just being an artist, being to myself, hanging out. This kid says this, that kid says that, and I'm like, all right, I have an anger issue. At that point in time, I had anger issues, so it's just like, all right, we're gonna fight, and then we get into scraps. Basically, just never. I wasn't really ever a kid who would like just be passive, So like someone.
So did you get like picked on? Like, did it start with that?
I wouldn't say picked on, but it would be like, people would try it, and then I would get into fights with them. So yeah, I guess you could say that. Like for example, when I moved to America, it was pretty poor at the time, so I'd be wearing like the same clothes every day, and then so some kids would be like talking trash on that. I'm a kid at the time, so yeah, exactly. Tough. So then I'm like, all right, this kid's like they're. In St. Louis, we call it joning, so there'd be joning on my shoes. Yeah. I'm like, all right, well, we're going to fight. Like, yeah, I might have some dusty shoes, but I can beat your ass, though, So then it would be a fight, and then other people would jump in, and then the next day you go to school, and then you have beef with this guy and that guy, and it just kind of goes on,
It'll continue.
Yeah, exactly. So I just always would get into fights.
So you felt like you were forced into it most of the time? You did it as like a self-defense mechanism?
Self-defense, yeah.
Never went around starting anything?
Nah, never.
Never. So you came out from Africa, right? Had a hard upbringing. It's always tough from, people migrating over here, trying to start their whole family over again, their whole life and everything. It's like a whole thing. But not only that, you got to face the adversity of all the kids in neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the not having clothes, that was big for me because that was one of the main reasons why I got picked out as a kid. And like, I always got picked on, so it was always like a situation for me as well. So that's kind of interesting. So you kind of got groomed into it basically.
Yeah, 100%. And I look back, it's like, I literally feel like it was like my destiny to fight, because just the way things played out is like nobody in my family that I know of was a fighter. Right. Maybe someone way down the line, like some ancient, African warriors or something. But as far as I know, no one in my current timeline was a fighter, So I feel like through all the fights, getting into trouble, this whole like journey I've been on for my whole life, it kind of always directed me to fighting and using fighting, martial arts as a way to become a better person, and then use that to inspire other people. Like some of my peers at the time when I lived in St. Louis, some of my peers, you know, that weren't doing, you know, like all my friends, like when I was a kid, they all like went to jail. They all like their lives went completely left. You know, I'm pretty much the only one at that time when I was in St. Louis that, you know, I'm doing like different things. You know, I took a whole different path, and it's because of martial arts. You know, and then now some of those kids, like my best friend, he had a whole like he was going to jail, in and out of jail. His cousin in and out of jail. These are guys that I was like with every day. You know, so I know for sure if at the time, if I hadn't moved to O'Fallon, I for sure would have like went down that path, or maybe I would have started fighting, you know, for real in like a boxing gym or something. But yeah, looking back on it, I feel like the fighting was it's part of my destiny. So it's because a big thing is like I can't not fight. You know, I look every time, even if I'm like I don't feel like going to practice, whatever, I might take a break. But every single day it's on my mind. Like, all right, you know, I need to compete. I need to do this. I need to do that. So with that, I feel like it's not really even necessary. It's like something that is just part of my DNA. It's something I'm supposed to do, you know?
Yeah.
And when I'm at the gym working out, training, I feel great. You know, even if like I'm like, I don't want to do this. I go to the gym, I get a hard workout in, I have fun, and I'm like, all right, yeah, that's what I was supposed to do. So I know it's something I'm supposed to do, because when I don't do it, I feel weird, and when I'm doing it, I feel happy. You know, so it's kind of a weird. It's a weird thing. I don't know how to
almost
explain
depressed,
it.
not focused, not driven, not going towards. You feel like you're fucking up.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's a good thing to have. I mean, I think that's kind of like something that kind of saved me myself from, you know, the ghetto per se. It's like, because I'm from that grime, I'm from the same experiences and stuff. Like we all have our different stories, but we all know the same atmosphere. You know, so to be able to come from that, you know, for me, it always required that and luck. Like I got lucky too, you know, from some of the things, you know, that we've. I'm sure both of us have gone through like a lot, you know. So for you to be able to come out of that, not only is that like I tell this to people all the time, like people like you are special. You know, people like me are special because we are able to look around at everyone else that was going through what we were going through, and we are actually some of the ones that were able to get out of the situation.
100%. Yeah.
And to be able to look at you and see that you're going the right direction, you're doing your thing. That's like, you know, that's an incredible feat, man. Like you're doing things that most people say they're just going to do and not do.
100%. Yeah, 1,000,000%. You know, so for me, I that's something I always say as well. Is like I'm lucky. You know, everything happens for me to benefit me. You know, even if something bad happens, it's like there's always actually a lot of times like something bad will happen, and it's actually it was like clearing the way for something really good to come in.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
You know, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So like when I was a kid, I lived in St. Anne. At the time, St. Anne was like the worst spot in America. So until about like 5th grade, 6th grade, I moved to O'Fallon, which was like the suburbs. You know, that's where my parents started, like their businesses picked up, and then, you know, made some money, and then we moved over to the suburbs. But however, I feel when I moved over to the suburbs, I was the only black kid in the whole thing. So in the hood, I'm the only African kid in the whole place. So I'm getting in the fights. Move over to the suburbs, I'm the only black kid in the whole place. So now I'm getting in the fights as well, because when I moved to O'Fallon, I was completely different than all the other kids, you know, because I'm from St. Louis. So I'm sagging my pants. I got my chains on. I got my Air Forces on. At that time, it was Nelly, you know. At that time, it was Nelly, Jaquan, Chingy. All those guys are popping. So I had the Air Forces on. I'm out in O'Fallon. You know, these kids will step on my shoes, and that's a big no-no. You can't step on someone's shoes.
Do they let you brush? Do they give you a second to say, "Hey, my bad," and brush them off?
Oh, no, not at that time. At that
Oh,
time,
they don't allow you to brush in the Bay. They give us a second, like, "Hey, man, just respect."
Oh yeah, you know, if it's respect, if it's like someone steps on your shoes, it's like, all right. If it was an honest mistake, then it's one thing.
Yeah.
But when I moved to O'Fallon, they would do it on purpose.
Oh, really?
You know, because they didn't understand the culture, so they'd be like, because when you're in the inner city, it's like, you know, no one has money, you know, so you get those shoes. That's like something that you worked very hard for. And it's like, you're going to take care of those. And that's like part of your self-esteem, like your identity. So when someone steps on your shoes, people don't understand why is that such a big deal. So when I moved to the suburbs, kids were like, oh, everyone there is rich, right? Everyone has money. They're just like stepping on your shoes on purpose, trying to start fights. So then I'd be getting into fights because of that, And then that became a big thing. And I'd be pulling principal's office and I'm like, oh, why did you get into a fight? Oh, this kid Ryan stepped on my shoes. Oh, well, that's not a big deal. Why'd you punch him in the back of the head? It's just like stupid stuff.
That's all
like
you
that.
got.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't understand that's all we got.
Yeah.
So it's like we try to take care of what we got. But that's also a big signature of showing like, hey, you respect what you have. I mean, it's like there's a fine line in there with like taking care of yourself. I mean, for me personally, I would consider that as like, being responsible in some way of being able to take care of yourself. Not only that, your pride, your ego, all that stuff. They can tend to overflow. But we have the conversations like this sometimes on the podcast, and it's all about like how we deal with things, how we get out of the hood, how we tend to, nobody tells us what the breaks are. Like when do we stop acting a certain way, because once the pressure's off us, we still don't know when to stop sometimes. So that's part of like growing up, like in the harsh environments, right? You don't know because like people are always trying to come at you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So
evolution, that's what we're all here for, is to evolve. I look back on everything, it's like, I mean, like clearly we're like the same type of guy, you know what I'm saying? Because we're in this, instead of fighting, you did bodybuilding, right? And I'm so we're like the same type of guy. I feel like, and I'm sure everything I'm saying with fighting is the same way for you with bodybuilding.
Yeah, you got to put energy somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you have to.
So it's like, through bodybuilding, you're evolving and you see the evolution on your body. So it's like, okay, you're becoming, through that process, you have to become a better person. Same thing with martial arts. Through, I'm a white belt, blue belt, brown belt, or a purple belt, brown belt. It's like, all right, now I have to become a better person throughout that process. I think everybody has to or should be doing like something like that. Martial arts, bodybuilding, something to
football,
football, something to evolve, But
especially the kids that are like growing up in harsh environments, 'Cause we got all this pain and anger and we don't know where to put it.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So that's why I did art, because when I was a kid, I just had a lot of anger, a lot of pain, a lot of anger. Didn't know where to put it, so I just draw. I just start drawing, and I'd focus in on that. And I got really good at that. And it was a great outlet. And then throughout that, then at some point, the fight night, I like came across like Ali on YouTube, and I knew nothing about fighting at all. And I was like, damn, this dude is an inspirational dude. This is like some crazy shit. So then from there, I just started like looking into how to fight and stuff like that. And I started finding more people like Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson. I started going down the rabbit hole, like seeing like guys like, Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was the first black heavyweight champion. And he, at the time, he was like, it was like way back, it was like what, early 1900s. And he had like a white girlfriend. He's riding around. Everyone wants to kill him. Like they're coming after him. Crazy story. He's just rolling around like there was like race wars because he was the champion, and he was still living his life just free, fearless, didn't care, and he just did his thing. And
that's cool, man. When you can stay in your own lane like that and just not pay attention to everything around you, that's kind of like a sign of adultism. Being like mature and not letting anything bother you. So, my hat's off to that, man. Yeah,
Jack Johnson is incredible stories. But I think we're all here for evolution. You're not evolving. And I think that's why, I feel like weird if I'm not at the gym. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm not evolving. I don't know. Do you ever feel like that?
Well, I mean, yeah, I did. I did. I mean, I like with like money got involved, taking care of family and friends, and I mean, like when I was in it, yes, like I had to get rid of a lot of that anger. I had to get rid of a lot of that pain. I felt like I had to accomplish something. It wasn't just for me. It was for my, for to show other people that I could do something. Yeah. So I mean, in order for that to happen, I did have to evolve into a different person. But a lot of things that held me back was my attitude. For me, because like I took a lot of that with me from the hood. I took that with me. And I kind of carried a little bit of that, but I was able to maintain and pull it back, but not enough to necessarily leave it all the way alone, which kind of could hinder me. It might have burned some bridges that could otherwise might not have been, I guess, have so many things constricted on me even tighter and not be able to move as far as I could. So for me, you know, that was part of my evolution, is learning that part. And by the time I finally did learn it, you know, but I am still bodybuilding. I am going to compete and stuff. But I mean, there's things like mentally I evolved. I evolved
100%.
mentally. So now I could, like, you know, obtain and entertain conversations to, like, eventually let me into those other rooms to become more and more and more.
100%. I believe in that 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Like, and a perfect example of that is, like, when you look at pictures of me when I'm younger, I'm never ever smiling, never smiling, you know. And it's like that's because of that mindset that you're in when you're in that situation.
Yeah.
But then throughout time, you know, smiling in pictures, something just as simple as a smile will, like, change your whole life.
Yeah.
It sounds corny as hell, but it's
Or
like
mood.
it's true.
Or
yeah,
mood.
your mood,
Just
like
the smile.
Yeah, even like in business, in the business world, 100%. You have like a smile, like, you know, there is just like a such thing as like $1 million smile, you know? That's like real, because it's like some people won't even approach you because they're like, nah, this guy, I don't know about this guy. But if you're more approachable, whatever, you know, because in the hood you have to have a chip on your shoulder always, because someone's gonna try to test you.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to, you know, you're gonna have to fight. You know, you have to constantly, and that's how when I go to St. Louis, it's like I feel like there's like I don't know if it's just a St. Louis vibe or what, but even in the hillbilly part, it's like constant chip on your shoulder. Everyone has a chip on their shoulder.
Pressure out there.
Everyone has, like, you know, everyone's sizing each other up.
Yeah, because you put the, you know, you kind of put the, you know, the look on, you know, you kind of go back to the reverse, you know, you start checking your security, like when you go back to those areas, you know?
Well, and it's like, that's not how it's supposed to be, you know. There's people living in a completely different dimension than how you live, you know, and that's another thing, you know, I realized throughout time is like reading books and finding like, oh, there's like a whole nother way that people are living their life out there.
But we never knew that, right? We never knew that. There was no resources to show us that out there, right?
Yeah. You know, I was lucky because, you know, since I'm an immigrant, I got to see a lot of the world. You know, like every few summers, my aunt lives in France, so I go out to France and you know, visit her. But she lives in like the hood of France, so I got to see like the French hood, but I got to see like the nice part of France, and I got to see, you know, like on a lot. And I do like school out there in France for summer school, you know. But we weren't rich by any means, but you know, my family would just get enough money to ship us out there to go to France and just stay out there for the summer, live with my aunt. And I got to see the world in a different way. Got to see how people are living their life. Got to see different patterns people do. You know, I travel a lot throughout competition jiu-jitsu, so I got to see all these different ways people live their life. And like you said, attitude really is the difference for everything. You know, like in the hood, the attitude is more like it's more short-sighted, short-minded, not able to see in the future.
Yeah,
not able to
think past the day.
You know, think past the day, not really seeing how your actions are gonna affect others, and that's by design. In the more richer parts like Newport, you know, that people think completely different. You know, like they think like just on a more about longevity and you know, it's just very different. You know, it's just very, very different.
Yeah, well, it's because, you know, a lot of it is like, well, where are people from Newport going to go to expand their resources in the hood?
Yeah.
Who are they going to go mess with that doesn't have that type of thinking just quite yet, you know?
Yeah.
But the hood can come to Newport and learn, you know, and, you know, I mean, just a person, you know, in general could come and expand their mind and start seeing how people think. And I tell that all the time. I always say, like, hey, kids, like, get around people who are thinking differently.
Yeah, 100%.
Who are thinking openly. Yeah. That's going to help you get out. Because, like, you know, not too many people like you and me get out. Yeah. Not too many people.
Yeah, but it's because they're scared. Or that's why I moved. I literally came to California, $200, hopped in my car, drove out here.
That's crazy.
And I just figured it out. You know,
I'll give you props on that, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. And it is, you know, like, because when I go back, to Missouri, like a lot of people are still doing the same shit they were doing like 5 years ago. Yeah, same exact shit. Yeah,
I'm never leaving.
Yeah.
I ain't never leaving.
Or they'll say, "Oh, I am gonna leave," but they've been saying that like 5 years from now.
10 years.
10 years, same shit. But if I wouldn't have moved to California at the time I did, I'm sure I'd still be doing good. I'm sure my life would be good, but it wouldn't have went the way it went. This way.
Right.
It's like because I had to make things happen. I wouldn't have met all the high level coaches and high level fighters I've met. I wouldn't have trained with all these guys. Even on the business aspect, I wouldn't have met. When I moved to California, the first person I trained was a CEO of a coffee company. And I met this dude just in Sprouts. I was just like talking, me and him started chopping it up. We started talking up. We were talking about the turkey in Sprouts or something. And then older guy, we start chopping it up. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm a martial artist, blah, 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 showing him some of my stuff. And then he's like, oh, yeah, he was telling me how he got mugged before and when he lived in New York for his watch. He's like, I'm actually interested in training. So I start training him. And then turns out this guy, his name is Kurt, this guy is like one of my main business partners now. We're cool, working on a program, online platform to teach people martial arts and fitness. And we've been working on it for like...
What's up, everybody? I'm Big Daddy Swolls. Hopefully you're enjoying your entertainment on BDS TV. If you are, please make sure to give me a like, comment, and subscribe so you guys can be the first to be notified about new content that's released. Also, be sure to check out my website, my music page, my social media platforms, and our merchandise store, all listed on the links below.
Like 2 years now, and it's going to be really, really legit. So, just if my past self would have went into that Sprouts and been like, what the fuck is this guy looking at? Like, why is he looking at it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're cutting off a connection right there.
Yeah, straight out. And then it turned out me and this guy are like, great friends now,
Yeah.
Just a random guy I met at Sprouts, And it's crazy because every single person you meet, you never know how, that person might actually change your life. And that person might actually, help you. And that person might actually have the information to the question that you're asking in your head, and then you're talking to them and they say, oh yeah, this and that, and you're like, oh, that's the information you need. And that's the crazy thing about when you're in one spot. If you need to evolve, best thing you could do is just move.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know anybody, if you just figure out a plan and move to a different spot where people think similar, or people are trying to grow. That's the biggest thing about here in Orange County is like there's a lot of people trying to grow. Like Weg, he's on a similar mindset. Weg, Daniel Savage, shout out to those guys. Yep. They're on like a growth mindset. They're trying to do something with their life. They're trying to evolve, expand. There's a lot of fighters I meet who are in the similar mindset, and they're all from other places, and they're coming here because there's all these people who are kind of on the same type of wave, trying to really, do more with themselves, do more with their life, get more out of life, learn more about life, learn more about their craft, whatever it is, and that's the biggest thing I see out here. There's a feeling out here when I come out here. When I go back to Missouri, there's a feeling like it's kind of like very slow pace.
Yeah, it's different, right?
Yeah, very, very slow pace.
You get irritated when you get behind someone in a car, they're driving like real slow.
Yeah. So that's if you're a kid in the hood, if you're even if you're in the hillbilly land, or if you're in, whatever suburbs, but you're thinking in a certain way, you're thinking outside the box, and, you best thing to do is move. That's really what I feel. Move to a spot where you feel that, people are on the same wave as you, It's the biggest thing I could say.
Yeah. See, so that, there you go again. It's just telling you youngsters out there, if you're going through it and you want to get out, you want to do something with yourself, just be around other people, move, get out of the way of everyone that's doing everything you don't want to be involved with.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah, 100%,
I mean, so there you go. You have it again, right? He's just Emmanuel just said it again. So I mean, man, you're feeding them knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me about your first fight, man. Tell me how you got your first fight, how you got into it,
First pro fight? My first...
for a pro fight. Yeah,
first pro fight. First pro fight was... so I came into fighting with the plan, because my first, fight was just some backyard stuff. You know, it's like kind of like if you go on YouTube, like street beefs or whatever. It was exactly like that in Missouri. We just always never back down. We'd have these like these fights, backyard
I heard
fights.
Of them,
yeah. So, so I did that as a kid, and then I already knew I wanted to be a pro fighter when I was like 14. So I started wrestling. I had a plan. I created a plan where I was like, I'm not gonna fight until I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu because of the brain damage and stuff like that. I know it's a factor in the game, but I want to make sure I have enough skills to minimize that. So I went in and every single day for 5 years. I trained like a savage, twice a day, every day.
That's crazy.
Because I knew I was preparing to go to war. For every single day, I had a mission. So
how long did you train for per session?
Per session, about 2 hour sessions.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were in the gym for 4 hours a day.
Yeah, 4 hours a day, and then I'd go home and I'd run, miles. I'd run miles. Yeah, I have my Nike Run app. You'll see. You can look back years, running. I want to be. There's a level on the Nike Run Club called Volt. There's only 1,000 people in the world in it. That's the level I'm trying to get to. I only need like two more levels. And it's like you ran 10,000 miles basically in X amount in like however long. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing.
How many more miles you got?
Right now I think I have like 700.
Wow.
So I got a ways to go, but it took some years to get to that. But
yeah,
700 miles. The next level I think is 1,000 miles or something like. I think it's 1,000 miles the next level, and then it goes from there. But when I say 700, it doesn't really seem like that much.
It's a lot to me.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's like there's people out there who
I don't even
10,
like
000.
driving 100 miles. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's a lot of miles, brother.
And there's a lot
of shoes too.
Yeah, There's a lot that hasn't been tracked as well. There's plenty of times I ran that I didn't have the app. But yeah, as far as fighting goes, so I had a plan every single day. I'm like, I know I'm gonna have these fights, so I'm going to war every day. I'm preparing for war. So I go 2 times a day, jiu-jitsu heavy, then striking at night. And then I'd start competing in jiu-jitsu to get as many competitions under my belt as possible, because those are fights without getting damaged, without actually getting punched and stuff. So I'd have all these competition experience, because all the best fighters, I watched every single fighter who was the best, and I studied what their life was. I studied everything about it. I get obsessed with things.
That's great.
So I went in, I started studying everybody's life, studied everything about them, and the biggest thing I saw where all the best fighters was a lot of them had competition in wrestling or jiu-jitsu, and they had championships in those fields because they have had hundreds and thousands of fights in that martial art, and then they're going into MMA with already a certain level, so. Like John Jones, he wrestled, his whole life. Conor McGregor, he didn't really have a competition background like that, but all he did was, train his whole life. There's so many guys. Anderson Silva, he's Muay Thai fighter. Horace Gracie, Jiu-Jitsu. There's so many guys. I've studied all these guys. So when I made my plan, I was like, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. So every day I'm in the gym. I go win a tournament, get the next belt, win a tournament, get the next belt. Finally got my purple belt, and I was waiting around. I was like, nah. I was like 24 at the time, I think. 24, and then I was like, all right, it's time to go. It's time to fight. So I just went, talked to a promoter that was in Iowa, booked the fight. Didn't have necessarily like a fight camp per se, because I was training at a jiu-jitsu gym, but there's a lot of great fighters in there. I didn't even tell my coach. I just booked it right away.
Really?
And then I went in the gym. I'm like, I got a fight coming up. And then my coach Steve back in Missouri, he's a hell of a fighter. Amazing. One of the best fighters I've ever seen. I think the best fighter I've ever seen. And he's like, all right, we're going to get ready to fight now. So then we start fight training, and we had a full fight camp for about 60 days. Brutal fight camp. Went into the fight, wrecked the fight, destroyed the fight. Only got punched once. Just technique through the roof. And the guy I fought, they were setting me up to lose. The guy I fought was a champ. His brother was a champion. This guy was like some knockout artist.
Oh, wow.
Big time jiu-jitsu guy in Iowa is his hometown. He was the whole crowd was there for him. I went in, I just destroyed the dude, wrecked the dude. And the commentators are even like kind of like, they're like, well, I don't know about this guy, but Gabe, his jiu-jitsu is really good. As I'm taking him down, like, I don't know, but they're just like kind of like, just like everything I do, they're kind of like. And then by the end of the fight, they're like, oh yeah, this guy, like, they're like, damn, this dude's legit, you know, because they knew how good this guy Gabe was. And so that's how I started out.
Yeah, because I saw your hands, man. You know, you got good hands too.
Oh yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, I've been boxing, you know, a long time. You know, I people think I'm just a jiu-jitsu guy. Nah, I'm not just a jiu-jitsu guy.
Well, you could have fooled me. I mean, when I saw your hands, I was just like, wow, like, you know, this guy really knows how to put hands on people.
Yeah,
like, I was like, you know, you see like, move, it's like in the spot, you know, that's pretty impressive.
Well,
I was impressed, like, you know, your speed as well. So
I appreciate
that.
that.
I gotta give you that, man, 'cause I was checking. I was like, man, this dude's really good. Yeah. So okay, so you got your first fight out the way, and then what? What happened after that?
Then from there, it was like, then from there, the Jiu-Jitsu Worlds was coming up. You know, I still want to win a world championship in Jiu-Jitsu. That was maybe like 6 months later. So we start going really, really training hard for that. Real hard. Hardest I ever trained. And then, you know, whatever happens, life happens in weird ways.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happened. Did something came involved with your life that pulled you away from training for a little bit?
No. I was training my balls. It was like 2 weeks before the tournament. Me and my coach, it had like a falling out. You know, we're good now, but it was just like, you know, I was being a kid. I was doing dumb shit. I was like smoking weed and you know, just like going crazy online and shit. So
well, that's good that you can, like, you know, acknowledge that.
Oh yeah, no, I was wrong for sure, because I didn't realize at the time. I didn't realize that there was a bunch of kids like looking up to me, you know. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
you kind of don't see that sometimes because they're just numbers on a screen as far as what you see. Right?
And the kids in the actual gym, you know. So now I understand it, you know, but I didn't understand it at the time. So I'm just like going on my social media. I'm trying to build it up, you know. I'm posting content. So I'm like smoking weed, whatever, just talking shit, doing my thing. And then my coach, you know, we just kind of got into it, and he was like, so then the tournament is like 2 weeks away, and you know, you never know, but I think I would have won that year because that was the best we've ever been, and you know, I was one of the top jiu-jitsu guys in the world in my weight class and in my belt rank, you know. So you know, what's up, guys? Manny here. Hope you're enjoying the show on BDS TV. If you're looking for any martial arts training, fitness training in Orange County, click the link below. And also follow me on Instagram at Emmanueli Adzoh. Appreciate you guys. You know, so that year it doesn't happen. There's a period where I'm not training, maybe like a few months, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to California. You know, so because my coach was like, yeah, you know, if you want to do MMA, you know, California is the place to go because where the level that you're at right now, there's not really any. Like to hit that level, if you really want to hit the next, if you really want to do MMA, you got to go to Orange County. That's where it's gonna be at. My coach is Mike Buckles, you know, great friend. You know, really life. He's taught me a lot about life, and he's like a real sensei. You know, so you know, so I took his advice, came out here, and then that's when I really started diving in. For 2 months, I just prepared to move out here, got my life in order. Got in real good shape, and then, you know, paid off my bills. Came out to California, had like $200. I put all the gas in my car, drove out here, came here, started making moves. I already had friends out here because of every year I would come out and do jiu-jitsu. So I'd be out here for like a month out of the year, or a month and a half out of the year. And so came out here, started making moves immediately. I was booking fights. And they just kept falling through.
Injuries or anything like that. It's hard. I heard it's hard to get a fight sometimes. I heard it's even hard just to even get a fight sometimes.
It's not easy, especially if
people get sick.
Yeah, people get sick. People get injured. Especially you're coming in your first fight. You know, people are like, oh, I don't want to take that fight. It's too dangerous of a fight. Or like everyone wants to have an undefeated record. So maybe you're coming in and you don't have any fights, but you have that jiu-jitsu background and you have that one amateur fight. And because I didn't really have my amateur fight was a pro fight. You know what I'm saying? So you see on my record, it says I'm 3-2, but really I'm 4-2 because that first fight was actually a pro fight. You know,
really?
There was no shin pads. There was no all the rules were the same. You know, so.
Why do you think they called it like a? Did they not call it a pro fight or did
Nah,
they?
it's because well, I didn't have any amateur experience. I think that's just every state has a different way they do things.
Different rules, laws.
Different rules. So in Iowa, for that fight, there was no shin guards. There was no, headgear, none of that shit. It was just full on MMA. The guy I was fighting was, super good as well. So that was a pro fight, there was no difference between my pro fight and that fight, so, but in California, if I would have fought amateur, you fight, you under camo, you have like headgear, you have shin guards. It's like shorter rounds, stuff like that. So when I came over to California, I couldn't get any fights for like 8 times people were pulling out because they would see my one fight and they're like, nah, this dude's legit. They would think I'm a pro. So they're like, nah, we're not going to take the fight. Or the day of, I cut all the weight. Day of, the guy would pull out, multiple times it happened. And then finally, I was like, all right, I can't do it. So I got to go pro, So I start training at HB Ultimate. And
I want to back up a second just for the viewers. So you were that good as an amateur. The only way you could get a fight is to fight pro.
Fight pro, yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool, man.
This is all I've ever done.
Yeah.
This is all I've ever done.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. I couldn't get a amateur fight to save my life. And I was out in California where everywhere all the fighters are, so many guys pulled out, and so I was like, all right, I'm going pro. Went pro, and first fight was against a knockout artist. Every single fight I've had has been, a super tough person. Yeah. Every single fight has been a tough person. First fight against Gordy Gayton, he's a knockout artist. Went in there, mauled him. Before the fight, 2 weeks before the fight, I got a really bad injury. I had an orbital fracture, and I had like a super bad concussion. Never had one before. Yeah. If I got hit in the eye, I was gonna balloon up. So I had to be super zoned into this fight. Because it was like, if I make a mistake, this guy's gonna hit me in my eye. If he knows that my eye is messed up, he's gonna hit me in my eye.
Go for it,
and it's gonna be a whole thing. But I went in. I only got hit one time the whole fight. Took him down.
Insane, bro.
Took him down. Just dominated him on the ground. Mauled him on the ground. He was a blue belt, but there's levels to jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Then immediately after that, I fought 2 more times, just back to back to back. And then I had my first loss, which was I fought 1 week and I fought the next week. It was like I fought 5 days later.
That's crazy. Within that amount of time.
Yeah, that amount.
I guess if you only got hit once, right? You can keep
this
moving,
is 3 fights in.
Oh, this is 3 fights.
This is 3 fights in. So, within a span of like a month and a half, I fought that many times.
That's insane, bro.
Yeah, it was back to back.
But you don't hear about that too often.
Nah, only person that I know who's really done it is like John Jones. I know when he started fighting, but that was a different time. Everyone's really good in MMA now. Not to say John Jones is a hell of a fighter. When he started his first year fighting, he fought like 8 times. So that was really impressive. But when I had my fight, my first loss was against jiu-jitsu world champion at black belt. And I learned a lot from that because it wasn't like he was better than me. It was nothing like that. It was just I didn't even want to be there. It was a lot of stuff like I was just like my car was messed up. No excuses. But finally get to the fight. The fight takes super long to happen. It's like at 12 at night. Finally, we're having a fight. I'm going back and forth. I'd never lost a round at that point. And it's kind of close. I don't know if I'm losing the round. So I go to solidify the round at the end of it. I take him down. He puts me in a guillotine choke. The bell actually rang. But I tapped out. And then the fight was over. Looking back on the tape, the bell rang, so the fight actually wasn't. It should have never. But at the time, it was poor management. To even have me fighting a week, 5 days later, it was just greediness on the management side because they're just making money off of me.
But you see that, now,
I see. I've learned a lot in this fight game. I'm still in the beginning of my career.
If there's money involved, don't trust anyone.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to see. You have to like. One thing I've noticed about money, man, is it'll show a person like it'll show you who a person is.
Yeah,
You know, like there's certain people that don't understand. Like a lot of people that act funny with money don't understand money. They don't understand the longevity of loyalty and what's making you money or how to maintain that. You know, let's just say like you're an investment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they abuse their investment.
It was so dumb because, okay, you might have made a little bit of money from the fight, me fighting, but that was dumb to have me fight so quickly because if I would have just waited 2 months, you know, which ultimately it's up to me to say, no, I'm not going to take the fight. But you got to understand, with fighters, we're guys that are like, you don't ever come to a fighter and be like, hey, because a fighter is always going to say yes, you know what I'm saying? Because now you're playing with my ego, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know that I'm not scared of anybody, you know, because the way this guy was asking me to fight right when I won the fight while I'm in the cage with my eyes messed. He's like, all right, so you're going to fight in 2 weeks, right? I'm like, bro, I haven't even seen my family yet. Like, I'm like, no, bro, don't ask me that right now. And then it's like, all right, well, come on, man, just fight. We'll get you in Bellator, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, great. I'm just like, all right, I'm not scared of anybody. I'll fight. All right, so boom, I have the fight, and you know, if the management would have been smarter, you know, and maybe, I mean, if I would have been smarter as well, longer term, it would have been a better investment because you got that money from that fight. But now I don't work with that manager no more. Now all my fights, I've only had 6 fights, but my last 2 fights have all my fights have sold really well. My last 2 fights have sold out. My last fight, I was the main event. On my 6th fight. It's crazy stuff. I sold a ridiculous amount of tickets. I sold 27,000 in ticket sales.
Wow.
As a 6 fights in, and I was the main event on an LFA. But in fact, before that, the fight with Patrick Becker is at OC Fight Club. I sold the place out. I was the co-main event, but I was really the main event. If you watch the fight, like everyone was there for me. It was going ape shit. Then when the main event came, everyone kind of dipped out. You know, that fight was outside. It was like 3,000 people there. Crazy fight. Great opponent. We had a really good fight. So my trajectory in this game is like it's going up and up and up. You know, I'm coming off another loss. You know, so my fight with Becker, that was me coming back from my first loss. You know, and that took it took a year. It was like COVID and all the shit. Took a year, came back, had that fight. He was a beast. Came in there, had a great performance. Now, my last fight that I lost was against this guy, Tyson Miller. He's a hell of a fighter, great fighter. He was 4-0 at the time. All finishes, all knockouts. You know, really dangerous fighter. However, I was like, I'll just, you know, skill for skill, I'm better than him skill for skill. I know it's crazy to say, but, you know, I'm better than him skill for skill. He even knows I'm better than him skill for skill. In the fight game, shit goes crazy, you know. There was a lot of things going on in my life at the time for that fight. No excuses. My grandma passed away right before the fight. I couldn't go to Africa because there's so many tickets sold. I had a responsibility to go to the fight, you know. My knee was banged up. My knee was mangled before the fight. And I was on crutches for a few weeks. I couldn't even really train for a bit there. The weight cut was the easiest weight cut I ever had, but it was pretty brutal as well. There's so many things going on. Me and my girl broke up at the time before the fight.
Oh, man.
Bro, it was brutal.
That one right there will put it on you right there.
Yeah, it was brutal. There was a lot of things going on that people don't understand during that fight. And they don't really care as well. You know, people were plotting on me, telling my opponent about my knee injury. You know, dude came out. First thing he did was he was kicking the leg.
Wow.
Very first thing he did, he was going after the exact leg that was damaged. In the back room, you know, I had no team. You know what I'm saying? It was just me, basically. Before the fight, right before I'm about to go out, I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, damn, it's just me out here. I don't have a team. You know, I don't even have anybody to wrap my hands, you know. And it was just a lot of weird shit, bro. A lot of weird shit that I changed everything after that fight. You know,
Evolved.
I evolved big time because that was just like, I shouldn't be going to war and then be like, which I would always go to these fights and just be on my own. But at the level I'm fighting at now, it's like the biggest thing. One of my buddies was telling me, Ice Cream Cooks. He was telling me, he's like, the biggest thing he noticed in the fight was Tyson Miller. He had a whole team with him. You know, even though the whole arena is there for me, there's too much chaos. It was just me and there's this guy here, there's that guy there, there's this guy there. There's no like what's the word, like unity? I don't know. Unity. There's no unity. There's just like a lot of weird shit going on. And then it's just me going out there and fighting the guy, and I'm on my own, you know, which is fine. I've done it a million times. But for that fight, you know, fight played out the way it did. Landed a quick shot, you know, good setup on his part. Got me down. The fight got stopped super quickly, you know, and no injuries or nothing. The best way I could have lost the fight, you know, there's no injuries. Very quick stoppage, you know. I didn't even really get a chance to get going, you know. But after that, you know, I took the time, changed everything in my life. Started training at King's MMA with Master Rafael Cordero. You know, got stronger, reevaluated everything about my fight game, learned what Tyson Miller was doing in the fight, how I even got caught with a punch like that, strengthened up my legs, strengthened up my knees, evaluated the people in my life that were just there because I was winning at the time. You know what I'm saying? But then when you lose, it switches real quick.
That's something like in bodybuilding, like the same thing. You're only good as your last show. Only good as your last show, right? I'll tell you, man.
100%,
you know how that goes, right?
100%,
so as soon as you fail, everyone's like, you know, you know.
Which which I felt before, you know, because that is I took my first loss.
But that stings.
Yeah, it stings for sure. You know, but it's like I want the people who are there for me regardless. And there's a lot of people who are there for me regardless. And you know, because there's gonna be a lot of ups and downs in this road. This is the fight game, you know. So you know, figuring out and you know it's weird, it's very weird too. I always had a fear of being knocked out. I didn't really get knocked out. I got dropped, you know, but however, going in there and getting dropped like that, getting, you know, for a while after the fight, I felt like someone took something from me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what stings. The ego gets really bruised.
Ego get bruised. So
but it's also a good lesson too.
Yeah, it was a great lesson. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of pluses you can get from out of that. You know? I mean, like the first time getting knocked out, or the first time losing, or anything like that. I mean, not just losing, but just anything, something getting taken away from you after it's been given to you, or you know, that's like one of the most valuable lessons probably that I've ever experienced in my life. You know, because then you get to really see who's there for you.
100%.
Then you get to see like what's important after everything goes away. What's important? Well, what stayed after everything, you know, got taken away is what's left. That's what's important.
100%. 100%. So yeah, man. So you know, it's funny because in the back room after the fight, after everyone clears out, you know, there's just a few people who were there for me. Now I'm like, all right, these people are really the people who are in my corner, you know? And, you know, then the whole process afterwards, building back up. That's the process I'm in right now. You ever seen Rocky when he fought Clubber Lang? You see Clubber Lang in the shadows working and stuff. That's how I am right now. You see Rocky when he comes back from losing from Clubber Lang. That whole process that he goes through, that's the exact process that I'm in right now. I'm watching Rocky, that Rocky over and over and over again, seeing him in the gym. You know, Apollo Creed's like, there is no tomorrow. There is no, like, just over. He's on the beach running. You know, he's on the beach running and he can't do it. He's slow. He can't do it. And he just gives up, you know, and he's just like looking down. And then Apollo's like, it's over. It's done, you know. I've been through that moment so many times. Bro, I've been through that moment a million times. No, like, these fights people don't know, you know, like when I'm alone and I'm out there running, you know, late at night, going hard, you know, those are the moments that will make this next win, you know, sweet. Make this next fight very sweet. And there's no guarantee either, you know, there's a lot of pressure. There's no guarantee. Going to the next fight, I already know the person I'm fighting next is going to be a beast because they're always a beast. You know, in my career, there's everyone's been a beast. So it's like, I already know this guy's going to be a beast. And, you know, I'm prepared for that. I'm coming ready for that, you know. Biggest thing I've learned in throughout these last few months was like Master Rafael Cordero. The mindset. He's like, kill or die is the mindset when you go to fight. You know, and now I'm switching that over because sometimes we go to training, and like I'm training with beasts. You know, everyone I train with is some of the best guys in the world. So it's like some days, you know, training is like, damn, I don't want to go to training today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like it's gonna be fucking hard today.
Well, it's not easy.
Nah, hell no.
You know, training is not easy, but you have to love it.
100%.
You have to love it. Otherwise, you wouldn't put yourself through that.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, Yeah, I can't because after my first loss, I already learned these lessons, but whatever life happened, had to learn the lessons again, So now I'm coming back, and now this time I'm ramping everything up. These last 4 years, I've done everything in my fight career, but I have a long way to go. I'm looking for these next 5 years to fight 4 times a year and finish, or after that point, I'd be 32 years old with 20 fights, 28 pro fights.
That'd
and
be
we'll see
awesome.
where we're at that point. And that's what I'm looking to do. So yeah, it's very interesting. That loss made me sit back. Like we were talking about evolution earlier.
Yeah.
That loss made me sit back and really think about where I'm going, where I want to be in 5 years. Who's really there for me? What do I got to change?
Yeah.
Because when it comes out into the fight, some people might even want to see you lose. You know what I'm saying? Some people who you think are in your corner, they might want to see you lose. You know what I'm saying? So
never go looking for support in your backyard, bro. Never go looking for support in your backyard.
It's a real, it's a real grimy game out here because people were leaking information to the enemy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who it was, but someone wanted to see me lose, and I take that as a direct because it's a dangerous game. Someone wanted to see me get fucked up that night,
Always somebody like that. That's within any field. That's within any field. It could be the music game, could be bodybuilding, could be like anything. You owning a business. Like the people always want to see you fail. It's just the most craziest shit to me. Why? Like, when that person could take you with you, or that's another connection. I mean, or that's some knowledge you could pull from.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Just some enjoyment. Like, why wouldn't you want to see everyone around you winning?
Yeah.
Like how much information you could pull from that thing. I've
100%.
never understood it. I mean, of course, if someone's done you dirty, I mean, that's totally different.
Yeah,
But I mean, just in general, like to plot on somebody, just out of nowhere.
Yeah, 100%.
Just because you just said, man, just I don't fuck him.
Yeah, I don't like him. Fuck him. Yeah,
For no reason. Like, maybe just
we're too jacked. That's the problem.
We're too pretty. Maybe we're just too pretty, man. Who knows,
You can't be this jacked and people hate on it.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna happen.
But yeah, bro, that was a crazy shit to me because I remember after the fight, someone that came to me and they're like, "Oh, yeah, it's crazy that he went for your knee right away." And I'm like, "It was fucking this guy." You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I'm like, I knew it was this guy.
Why did you mention it? Why did you mention it?
Yeah, I knew it was this guy because it was like some people
they kind of give it away, huh?
Yeah, it's like some people they act like they like you, but you kind of know like, nah, this guy's on some weird shit.
Yeah,
and it was like
a lot of them.
Bet. Yeah, a lot of them. Man, it was like, all right, bet. But the knee's good now. The knee's good now. I'm better now. I'm more stronger now. Survived. Life is better. Business is better.
Yeah.
Everything's better. Mindset. I don't need to fight. I fight because I want to fight and I want to be a world champion. And the next fight you're gonna see that you're gonna see a different animal.
I want to come to it.
Oh yeah, damn right. Yeah,
I'm gonna come to that
right.
One.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you gotta come. Yeah.
Oh, dude. I'm there, bro. All right. So as far as like anything you want to like, tell the kids, man, that like have been through something that we've been through. Like, let's just say, like, when you go through a loss, how did you get through that? How'd you weave your way through that?
Yeah. So first thing I did was going through the loss was I went through and I looked at different fighters who had losses as well, and I looked at their trajectory, their career. So when I am the stage of my career I'm at right now, where was Conor McGregor at this stage? Where was John Jones at this stage? Okay, John Jones undefeated. Okay, but Conor McGregor, he's at the exact same record I have right now is the same record he had at this stage in his career. He took like 2 years off, came back. Yeah. So I looked at all these different fighters, seeing how they were. Anderson Silva, he started his career with like a couple losses, and then he went on some crazy run. So I was like, okay, I know logically you can bounce back from these losses and you can come back even better. So then from there, I'm like, okay, how did they do it? And I start reading stories. I need inspiration, so I start looking in inspiration. From there, I start finding my reasonings for doing things. Because
did you almost quit?
Nah, hell no.
You didn't even close.
I mean, no, never. I might have gone through my mind like, hey, fuck this shit. I'm not going to the gym today.
So emotionally, you were strong. You were with it.
Yeah, I've never, because I'm committed to the game,
That's cool.
I might have been like, know what, fuck this shit. I'm not going to the gym today. I'm done with this shit. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm never quitting. I can't quit, especially off a loss, because that's what they want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I would never do that, But
so that's how you dealt with it. Like, you evaluated your life.
Yeah.
You sit there and you started studying. You looked for inspiration.
Yeah, inspiration. That's the first step for me, always. You know, I think about stuff like everybody who has lived to get me to this point and had you know, just thousands of people to get me to this point to live, you know, and fight for their life and strive and fight for their life and survive and build life and get to the point where in 2023 and I'm just here and I think about the future of my future bloodline, like how would they be, like, let's say 5 generations down, I want my ancestors to be like ancestors, is that the word for future?
Maybe you would be their ancestors.
I
Maybe
want-
your lineage, maybe.
Yeah, I want my lineage to
I
be.
think it might be lineage.
Yeah,
You know,
I want my
great
lineage,
grandkids.
great grandkids. I want them to look back and be like, damn, Manny was a bad motherfucker. I have to turn it up. You know, I had to live life to the fullest. You know, that's where I have a nephew. You know, I have a nephew coming, you know, soon here. I want to make him proud. I want to make my family proud, which I already have, but I want to take it to another level, you know? And those types of things are the things where I'm like, okay, now I have inspiration, you know?
Yeah.
It's not about just being like making a bunch of money, because you could do other things that are easier to make money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, way
It's-
easier.
Yeah, it's not
Way
about
easier.
getting bitches or whatever, because they'll leave. This is the second you
You
lose.
lose.
Yeah, they'll
They
leave.
gone.
Yeah, they out of there.
Or you're
yeah.
not doing something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless it's the
yeah.
real, girl
Yeah.
that is there with you regardless.
When you
know?
have nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You
Or
know?
it doesn't care.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly,
But a
you know?
lot of these,
Yeah.
I mean, this day and age, I know they're talking about like, oh, how you get a girl and have all the, you know, you got to have this, you got to have that, you got to have that to get the cream of the crop. Well, those are the type of girls that, you know, aren't worth anything.
Yeah,
they want you
100%.
for that shit.
They want you for
anyways.
shit and they'll leave
So
in the blink of eye.
Yeah, they need to be teaching that too while they're out there. You know, all this shit.
100%.
They don't teach that shit.
No, 100%.
You pull up to a club in a nice car or whatever, and like one of them little roaches come out and start
Yeah,
talking to you.
yeah.
Sure, you know, you can pull them, but they're not worth anything.
Not worth it. And that's the
Yeah.
thing as well, is like,
Yeah.
I can talk about it because you might be making the money now, but what happens if you get in a car accident
Yeah.
and then you're not good for 2 years and then they leave,
Oh,
right?
yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, you need to have someone who's there for you. If you're in that situation, they're gonna hold it down for you, and vice versa. You know,
Yeah.
like that's what true love is. You
Yeah,
know?
they're not gonna stay for your car.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like your payment. You're gonna miss your payments.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna lose your job. You're gonna
Exactly.
lose your money.
exactly.
Yeah,
and
so,
that happens in life.
Yeah,
you know?
so don't chase those women.
100%.
Those are throwaways.
Yeah, 100%. Don't make your goals getting these women. So you can don't make your goal in life getting this car so you can get this woman who's
Yeah,
gonna drain
yeah.
you of your life force.
Yeah.
Nah, bro. I don't. Yeah, you have to have deeper desires, deeper goals in order to get that energy that you need to really, really hit things. So like when I'm painting, sometimes I'm painting and I'm drawing and I'm like, I get a burst of inspiration from somewhere. And when I get that burst of inspiration, I just get in the flow and I can make something crazy to something beautiful.
Yeah, because I saw some of your art, man. It's crazy awesome, brother. Yeah, I
appreciate
gotta get it
that.
because my
Appreciate that.
sister's an artist, so
Yeah.
it's like I respect it. You know, attention to detail. Hey, you got some beautiful paintings, brother. So
appreciate
yeah,
that.
definitely check them out too.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to make you a piece as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
100%.
Yeah.
But you know, so it's like same thing with fighting. When you get that burst of energy and you're able to write it and for the right reasons, that's why, you know, I was talking to someone before and I was like, you know, all the best fighters, they all have like deep spiritual beliefs, you know. So like John Jones, when he won that Cyril Gane fight, first thing he did, he praised Jesus. Khabib Nurmagomedov, he's Muslim, you know. That's one of his main character traits. You know, Ali, same thing. Floyd Mayweather, same thing. And I'm really into psychology. So these fighters, their religion, their spirituality gives them the deeper purpose when they're fighting. It's not about getting the money, because that stream of thought will only get you so far.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because you'll want to stop because you
Yeah.
don't love it. You love
Yeah.
the money more
Yeah.
than you love what you're doing.
Exactly. If it's for the women, that stream of thought will only get you so far, you know? So it's kind of like Ali, he fought for deeper reasons, you know? That's why he went to jail, came back, started fighting again. You know, that's why he's one of the most inspirational people in history, you know? John Jones, he's out here winning these fights because his belief system is he is spreading his religion and he's showing the glory of God
That's awesome,
through
bro.
his fighting, you know. And
I like that.
you know, and the same thing with Khabib, same thing. So for me, I went back and I reevaluated every single thing in my life, you know, and I feel like to get out of losses, you really have to evaluate your life on a deep, ask yourself deep questions, because life starts with the question, you know. You know, why did you do this? Why did you do that? How did it go wrong? You're not worthless because you took a loss. A loss is the first step to success, you know. So, and I truly believe that, you know, my whole fighting career started off of a loss because I got my ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? Before I even had any commission and all that stuff, I got my ass whooped in the backyard, you know, and I got obsessed with it. And then you know, now here I am. You know what I'm saying? So
A lot of people could go the other way. A
yeah.
lot of people would go the other way, not want anything to do with it.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
like a lot of people don't know what they like until they experience it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's pretty cool, man. Because like a lot of people, you know, tend to get scared. They have to, like for me, I had to get beat up enough times to where I was like, okay, this is what this feels like. I had to become aware of the situation. Then it was just like, you know, you fight, you get beat up, or you know, because I eventually took it into like a thought process, like, all right, in 3 days I'm okay anyway. So it's just not a big deal. But you know, you kind of have to acclimate your mind to that, to where you know your adrenaline doesn't pump.
Yeah, 100%.
The way you're used to that atmosphere, that war atmosphere. So like, but for you were able just to just jump right into it. For me, I had to get beat up a lot. Like I was beat up a lot. You know,
I got beat up a lot too.
Oh yeah,
Trust me.
okay. So the backyard thing was just something.
Oh no, I got beat up in the backyard, you know. But then we were fighting as well. But training, when I started training for real, that's when like I was getting my ass beat. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ass
Because you're
beat,
really
bro.
learning.
Yeah, because I was learning from real fighters, and
Really?
my coach was like one of the best fighters in the world. He never really took his pro career. You know, he just stopped. He just kind of got married and just kind of took a break. But he's one of the best fighters I've ever seen in my life. And this is a guy that I was sparring with every day. Everyone was scared to spar with him, but I was just like, no, I have to spar with him, because if I want to be like him, I'm gonna have to learn these lessons.
Yeah.
You know, so I was in the gym with him. No one would ever spar with him. It was just me and him going back and forth. And those days, you know, I made the right decision, because those sparring sessions and all that stuff taught me so much about life, and you know, really made me into the guy I am now, you know. And I'm trying to, and I constantly go back to that training to take inspiration. Like the kid I was at that time, I was just a scrawny kid, didn't know much. I just had heart, desire, and just really wanted to learn this stuff, you know. Just really wanted to learn this stuff, and that's what it takes, you know. Sometimes it's just desire, heart, you know. And I think if you took a loss in life, you know, you just go through, and as long as you have that desire and that heart, you'll pull out of it. You know, Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury. He at one point he was 400 pounds. Even though he's never lost in his fight career, even if you don't lose in a sport, you might take a loss in life. You know.
Yeah.
And then he took that loss, and he was depressed for a while. He pulled himself out of it, started running. He could only run like half a mile. Kept building up. Lost all the weight. Came back, beat Deontay Wilder. You know. So that's what it's about. Like, I'll just watch movies that are inspirational. Rocky, you know, just so different. Just Forrest Gump, you know, I watch that for inspiration. You know, just stuff like that. You know,
He took a lot too.
Yeah.
Man. That character took his beat downs. He just kept moving. Man.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so-
and that's what it's
But that's
about.
what happens when noise doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
You know, when it just doesn't affect you.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
he just doesn't even know that it's not that something bad happened to him.
Or it's
you know?
disrespectful.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
this guy just, disrespected me. He just keeps, I mean, that's a pretty good analogy, actually. Being able to just zone in and just not, okay, this is what I gotta do. This is what I gotta do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I got promoted. That's how I, carried him through the war. Like literally just, there was nothing bothering that man as he went through all this horrible shit.
And that's the thing as well. I was talking about earlier with sometimes a lot of times in life something bad might happen, but actually if you really look, it's a skill though. You have to really look at it and find something good out of it. You got to pull it out regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
You might break your arm, but it's like, all right, I broke my arm. I can't train with my right arm. But all right, I'm going to make my jab crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my jab crazy. So when I come back, I'm going to be strategic with this jab and it's going to elevate me. But having that mindset to be like, I'm going to focus on this instead of being worried about that, is a thing that happens. It's a skill in every part of life. You know, if you lost everything, and then the mindset I would have would be like, all right, now I know I could get it back because I already got there once, but now I'm gonna do it even smarter. You know, so it's an opportunity. You know, it's a way to really build up. You know, so that's something I've really found through this loss. I looked at what I can do to really make myself better. You know, and how I can make sure that these things never happen again. Because my first loss, I learned these lessons, but then I won the next fight, and then the leeches come out, all these different people who are there, pretending that they're your friends, but they're just like there because they want to be part of the whatever's going on, or they might be secretly plotting on you, and
people don't understand that part of the aspect. That's that's a big mental thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they show you all this love and then they just strip it from you. Just like off of one thing. Like it's crazy. Yeah. And it's a mental breakdown for a lot of people.
People were talking trash. Like one guy thought he was like in my corner. I heard this guy was like talking crazy shit. Like, oh, he got knocked out. Can't believe it. We shouldn't use him for this photo shoot because his stock is down right now. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? This guy was this guy who's acting like he was my friend, and I confronted him about it. I'm like, bro, you said this and that. I'm like, bro, you guys are weird, but this is how people are. It's like
more than you know.
Yeah. More
than you know, especially when money's involved.
100%.
When business is involved and everything like this, it's almost better not to get close to people. And then you find your support team, the people who aren't going to benefit from you winning or losing. That's going to be your support team. The people that are there for you no matter what. Like that thing is, and it's hard to build that, bro.
100%.
It's hard to find that real, real people, real soul with real code, real honor, real ethics. Like it's hard to find that.
Oh yeah, it's extremely hard.
And so, but as long as you stay grounded and you hold it down yourself, man, you'll be able to weed everyone out that isn't just by being that way.
100%.
That's why I tell everyone, who's like real, like, man, like, if you're real, don't worry about anyone else around you not being real because you're going to weed all those people out anyways just by being real.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, and
they don't like mirrors.
No, definitely not. I really see that a lot, I feel like just weird shit. Like if you're doing good, I'm happy for you. You're successful, you're doing your thing, great, I'm happy for you. That doesn't take away from me. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't. There's plenty to go around for everybody. But some people look at it like, oh, this guy is successful. I don't really get it. Why is he? I'm smarter than him or whatever.
I'm just as good.
Yeah, I'm just as good. I've been grinding as long as him. Maybe they haven't really seen the process that that you go through. They don't really see the late nights that you're doing. They don't really see whatever, and they feel like you're getting success easy, and then they're like, oh well, I'm gonna plot on him. I'm gonna tell the enemy about his injury, or I'm gonna do this or do that. So it's just how people are. It's just the nature of. That's how you know that you're doing good in life, I guess, because if you're not, no one would give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So
people worry.
It's like so
people are worried. So they don't want to see you win.
So yeah, man. So I learned a lot of lessons from that fight, and with the kids out there, these things are bound to happen. If you're doing your thing, you're going to stumble. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. I do this like visualization where I just picture myself as a tree, like a little sap tree, a little sapling, and then I picture myself being like a big giant redwood, real thick redwood or oak tree, whatever tree you could think of, just a massive, massive tree. And then how nothing could just knock that tree over. And the process of being a small thing and then becoming a giant, I think about that all the time when I'm like training, when I'm running. I'm like, every day I'm watering my plant. You know what I'm saying? I'm watering my spiritual plant. I'm watering my mindset. I'm watering all this stuff to where one day I could be a big ass tree. You know what I'm saying? Does that sound weird? I mean,
no. Honestly, like anybody's way to find peace or find steadiness or calmness in their waters, just to be able so they can get a clear visualization of where they're going. However you got to do it. Do it. Because you're gonna need those. You're gonna need those moments to yourself. You're gonna need that time. So no, that doesn't sound silly to me at all. But that sounds very smart and intelligent. So
yeah, bro. So that's what that's what I would say. Find that thing. Like an elephant. A little baby elephant. Picture yourself as a giant elephant. And yeah, it's very, very interesting stuff. Like the mindset, your mind. When it comes to fighting's more so psychological. That's why I think it translates so well with the art, because art is extremely psychological.
Yep.
It's just like create a painting and then someone can understand it deeply without ever saying a word. And fighting is very similar in the sense that it's all like about body language, and the judges don't really know what's going on. Only you, the crowd doesn't know what's going on. Only you and him know what's going on in there for real. Like, he knows he just hit you hard, or you just hit him hard. The audience might see it, but the audience don't see when that guy punched you or you punched him, the look in your eye where you're just like, I'm not giving up,
Right.
They might feel it to a degree, but only people who really know what's going on is those two fighters.
Yeah.
And, so it's extremely psychological. And, some guys win fights just based on knowing that. That's the one thing about John Jones. Regardless of what happens in a fight, he always has his hands up. He always looks like he won. He's never down. He never looks sad. He never looks like, oh shit, I lost the round. Even if he got his ass whooped, he's like, nah, I did it. That's how it is in life too. I might take an L, but you'll never ever see me down. You'll never see me sad. You'll never see me, you'll just see me up every single time, Even if I feel like, nah, everything's going left, because that's how it is. That's what one of the biggest things fighting taught me in watching fighters like Ali. Ali was getting smashed the whole fight. I believe when he fought George Foreman or Joe Frazier. I think George Foreman. He was getting smashed the whole fight, and then at the very end, he knocked him out. And then after that fight, this is very rare footage, but if you could find it online, there's him walking back and he's saying like he feels like he's gonna die, and then it's like months later they're asking him about that fight. He's like, that's the closest he's ever been to dying. But during the fight, you would have never thought anything about it, because also he came back from that fight where he didn't fight for 3 years, and he was just in a jail cell, so he didn't run. So he was like slower, and his heart and determination got him through that fight. And he won. And that's where it's like, that's where it's like, that's very, very interesting stuff to me. It's very fascinating.
Well, that's the way of being in life.
Yeah.
Same thing. A lot of people don't understand that too, because even as you go through, barriers of success, you still have to keep going.
Yeah.
You still have to keep going.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty incredible. Well, Emmanuel, I appreciate you for coming on, man.
Thank you, brother.
You've been a special guest, man. Very, very motivational, man.
I appreciate you.
Man, you got some skills, brother.
Appreciate that, man.
Man, we'll have you on soon.
Oh, yeah, damn right. Thank you so much.
All right, Big Daddy Swolls TV.
The Big Daddy.